Where you at?
We on, baby. We on.
What it do?
Good, man. Well, we want to welcome everybody to Man Talk Mondays. It's that time again, ladies and gentlemen. So here we are, another Monday, Man Talk Monday, open forum where we talk about everything from religion to politics to relationships, the whole nine. But of course, we do it from a man's perspective, right?
Yes.
Here's the thing to remember, though. This is not just for men, right? So women, men, young boys, young girls, everybody is welcome to join in, and you can be part of the conversation. We can see your comments. So if you have a comment or a question, just drop it in the comment section. We can see it, and you can actually participate in the conversation by doing so. And we actually encourage you to. We want to hear from you. All right. So, how you doing, man? With all that said, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing good. I just want people to know, Man Talk Monday don't stop for no holiday.
For real. Don't stop, don't quit. We still rolling, baby.
Yeah.
All right. Election season coming up. And we know everybody is talking about the election. That's the hot news constantly. Even with everything that's happened, that's going on, that's still going to be the top topic in this country. So typically when elections start rolling around, people start coming out the woodworks trying to get your vote, right? We see the campaigns, and even now we got the NBA, the Black Lives Matter, but I saw some jerseys that had vote and all this kind of stuff on that. So
a bunch of them.
You got a lot of major organizations and stuff that are pushing for people to vote. So we wanted to know tonight. We just want to know, vote for what? For what?
Hey, man.
Why? Does it even, I mean, I think the biggest question is, does it do any good? Does it do any good? I think that's what people really want to know. Does it do any good? Now, historically, it was one of the things that I'm going to say most people, but traditionally in this country, voting was one of the major things that they tried to keep people away from. Why was that?
Whoa. Hold on. Let me say this.
All right.
You're right. Voting was one of the bigger things they try to keep us away from. But just to enlighten or educate people, what were some of the measures that were used to keep us from voting? Derek.
Pop quiz for the people.
Yeah, exactly. Because obviously they thought more important of us voting than we think.
Right. Well, we know we had probably first around the 1920s, you had the women's suffrage movement. And in the 1920s, women won their right to vote. Right. So in the 1920s. So who was voting before then?
Just the men, just the white men.
So just white men voting. How does that work for everybody else when it comes to representation?
Well, it doesn't give you fair representation if you only have one class of people, one ethnic group of people that's voting. Is that the right word? Is that the right word?
Yeah.
We only have one group of people that's voting.
Now, you take it back a little further than that. When this country was first founded, only property owners could vote. So even the poor class of whites, they couldn't even vote. So only landowners were the only people that could vote.
What if you own some slaves? Could you vote if you own slaves? That's property. That was property back in the day.
You probably was encouraged to vote. Because we know that there has been a lot of stuff that has been done. Let's see. Miss Roy, she said, yes, it does. People don't realize that if we all vote, we can have our winner. Minority votes can win. when people aren't split. Bring up an interesting point. She say when people aren't split. Do Black people vote with solidarity?
Well, I don't. As important as that may seem, I just don't think enough Black people vote anyway. Even if whether we agreed or disagreed, I just don't think the black. I don't think the black. I don't know what's going on with these lips today,
Right.
but I don't think we think enough of it. I just think sometimes, this is the crazy thing about church. When you go to church on Sunday, when you listen to church on Sundays, they often go through praise and worship. Well, praise and worship is for you to worship Christ, but also it's for you to remember his goodness. Now, oftentimes when we don't reflect on the goodness of things or the remembrance of things, we tend to forget the importance of them. Okay. And I think just because we are far removed from the dogs, the water hoses, and everything else they were doing to us to prohibit us from voting, I just think that we as a people take it lightly.
Just to remind people, the first Selma March, which happened in the course of the 1960s, but the first Selma March was deemed Bloody Sunday because of the violence that was enacted upon the people that were marching. You had police. This is law enforcement. This is the police. We had the dogs, the water hose. The whole nine. And it was a march because of the things that were done in the South to suppress the right of Black people to vote.
The crazy thing about voting, I believe this, and if y'all don't agree, I don't care. But this is what I believe. I believe that voting is like the forbidden fruit. I think we only want it when we told we can't have it. I think if someone tells you that you can't have some, it makes you want it that much more, because it makes no sense for us not to be voting. It's too casual to us. We don't think twice about it. But now, if we didn't have the right to do it, I just believe, again, y'all could disagree or not, I don't care. But think about, but what you think? Am I way off? Am I missing, or what you think?
No, I think you definitely have a point. There were things like literacy tests, poll taxes, where you have to actually pay a fee to actually to vote, English language requirements, and just a whole lot of things that were done, particularly in the South, to keep African Americans and even low income white people from actually voting. So these are the things that people had to fight through to give us the opportunity. And just like you said, because now it's so common that we don't even think twice about what people had to go through to actually get us this particular, this freedom. It's an exercise of your freedom, but we don't take into consideration all that was done. The march, and we hear about Dr. King, but most people can't tell you the particulars as to what they actually went through.
Let me tell you something. Until you have been hit with a water hose, until you have been dog sicked on you, until you have endured some of the things and the hatred that people went through for us to vote, I think you truly don't understand or get the concept of how important it is for you to vote. Listen, let me tell you something. That they are giving you hints that it's important for you to vote.
Right.
They are giving. Listen, if we just pay attention to the hints. Now, it's a friend of mine I went to school with, and he's always saying until he's not voting because he don't agree with this person or he agrees with that person. Now, and I used to think, well, I can understand that, but no. There has to be something on one of the parties that you can identify with or agree with. There has to be. because you just can't sit this one out. Because what sitting this one out does is it creates now, because you didn't vote, you don't have room to complain.
But let me bring up a good point. Do we even know what the platforms of the people are?
We don't, and they've been telling us. Okay,
they have to tell us.
They've been telling us, but it's not important enough to do some, man, brother. We can tell you all the new TikTok stuff that's coming out. We can tell you all the stuff that's not that important to us as far as our daily lives. But when it comes to matters of things like this that's being serious, man, we drop the ball on those things. I just and by all fairness, man, I get it. People are just trying to live their best life, and I also understand that that does not alleviate you of your responsibility.
Now, bring up an interesting point. Why? And this is the question: Why does voter participation increase with age? Because if you look at voter statistics, the number of people that turn out for voting, they're older. The 18 to 24 is how they kind of group them off. People that are over that age group, they turn out more for voting. Why is that?
Because he did his taxes, he too turned up. It's the same thing, man. We have so much we're having so much fun in our 18 to 24 years that we're thinking that they'll take care of that. Somebody else got it. Somebody else to do that. I don't have to worry about that. And I think the misconception, man, about politics is you gotta be all deep in it for you to really know what's going on. And actually you don't, man. My understanding now, and okay, before I go there, what are the two times? What's the one time that the most black people voted?
Okay, so historically, and you can check the statistics. The time that blacks turned out the most for voting was in 2008 and 2012.
So we need somebody that look like us on the ballot. So does it help?
I don't know. Let's ask the people. Does it help? Does your interest in voting change when you see someone you can relate to? If you see somebody black, or for women, if you see a woman that's running for a particular office, does that compel you to vote more? Y'all talk to us. Let us know. Does it compel you to actually get out and vote more?
I would say once you see a woman on the ballot, women are going to raise up from everywhere. Women are going to start talking back to their husband to get the vote now. Oh, brother, you can't make them sit down to vote now, brother. And she is AKA too. You can't. Is she AKA?
Yeah.
Brother, you can't make them sit down.
For those who are not familiar with AKA, Alpha Kappa Alpha is a sorority. It is a African American sorority, of which Kamala Harris, she is a member of that organization, that sorority. So for all of the people, especially my HBCU people, are y'all gonna vote? Y'all gonna turn out now for the vote?
So, and that's the thing, Dave. So if we have to have someone that looks like us, but before we go further, Fitzroy saying something. You want to put her up?
Oh yeah. She said they run through it in school. It's emphasized, but not emphasized in school, how important it is to women and minorities. How many minorities make it a point to take their children to the polls and celebrate when the child turns 18? Oh, so she's talking about knowing what the people are actually, the platforms, and encouraging voting amongst African Americans. I don't know that. We celebrate what, Sweet 16? Don't nobody celebrate 18 being able to vote. Now I was in a polling place last time we voted. Forgot what it was for exactly, but they had somebody there who was 18, and the polling place did a whole announcement. Hey, we have so and so, they're voting for their first time. You know, they just turned 18, and everybody like, hey. I was like, wow, that's interesting that they would even, make it a point to do something like that. But then nobody celebrated me when I first voted. Did I vote at 18? I'm trying to see. Because I was like that too, man. I was, I wasn't caught up in that, but I don't think anybody really understands the weight of it until you get older.
See, making an outstanding point about the school system, and see, I don't think it's taught enough to us in schools to where it's important to us. Like, hey, you guys are almost 18. You guys have to start listening and understanding politics for yourself. Here, this is what we're going to do. I think the school should actually take the kids to vote. I think that'll be one of the teaching things. Let's talk about politics. We talk about everything. If we can talk about sex ed, we can talk about politics.
Now, stuff like that gets way more attention because I don't know, how comfortable would you be with the school teaching your kid deep politics like that? Is that something that the school should be teaching? They can teach the process.
I ain't. First of all, let me just say this. I ain't cool with them teaching sex ed to my kids. But again, if the foundation of whatever it is that's being taught comes from me, all they can do is add more information to it.
Right.
So I think the foundation shouldn't come from the schools of it. I think that needs to come from home. And it's interesting, man, because my son will be 18 next month, and I hadn't thought about. Talking about it, I was saying, I hadn't even thought about, because my whole thing now is, hey man, you have to start planning for the rest of your life. You're going to become somewhat of a young adult, so we have to start moving into those areas. But this is just as valuable as credit or anything else, and we have to put it on the front burner rather than the back burner, saying someone else do it for you. Because I think that's the problem. Everybody thinks somebody else will get it. Somebody else will do it. Somebody else will do it. Don't worry. Don't you worry about that. Somebody else will get it.
I don't think people really take into account the collective power. I think we focus on the individual so much that we don't focus on the collective power of anything, really. You know what I'm saying? And most people, when they're like, if a person is starting a business, they think about the collective power of, if I tell one person about my business and them going out and telling everybody else, they consider the power there, but nobody considers the power of, okay, if I vote and another person votes the same way, on so forth and so on, collectively, we have a huge voice.
So is voting is voting the poverty thing? Do we not vote if we're in poverty? Do we not think that people care enough about what we're doing? Do we not think that they listening to little old you? I'm really baffled because as I was looking into this, we generally don't vote and we do more complaining about the politics of it than anybody, and we don't vote.
No, you got a point. And why wouldn't that be important to a person who was in poverty? I mean, because in poverty, you get kind of pretty much just taking what's given to you anyway, right?
So the whole mentality of poverty is just as long as I can keep, as long as I can get my sisters where I need to. Why ain't the church talking about voting? Does the church talk about voting?
I think they got to tread lightly because of separation of church and state.
But wait.
Yeah,
you're gonna tread lightly there, but you'll bring politicians into church.
Right. Now they can bring politicians in but a pastor can't push.
Wait a minute.
They're not supposed to. They can't push their politics on people.
So
they're not supposed to.
So you telling me pastors at these churches not telling you not endorsing, so they're not openly endorsing their client in front of you. And it's not about the church. This is not about the church. It's about the church.
Right.
I'm just simply saying, everybody. Again, I think this is too passive We're too passive about voting as a community, as the Black community. We're too passive about it.
Yeah.
We should be outraged.
And I think it kind of goes back to what you were saying before, is we don't consider the history of what it took to get to this point, to the point that we don't value it enough. And maybe it's because we haven't effectively told a story or kept a story, because it hasn't been really told in our history books, the magnitude. But it was on us to always keep the magnitude of what actually happened in the forefront. Because my thing is, if voting is not that important, why would people go to such lengths to keep you from it?
And again, anytime somebody is doing a whole lot for you not to do something, you might need to think, this is way more than I'm thinking. Now, let me say this. You know, one of the misconceptions about getting on these shows, and let me say, Celia is with us tonight. You hear me?
Yeah.
Celia is getting us. Let's read some of these. Let me read some of these comments right quick before I go.
Because I'm going to get to one thing she said that she brought up a great point. She said, we were talking about the collective vote. She said, yes, collective. We don't split our votes so we can win. Now it brings up an interesting point. So do I vote for somebody just because they look like me?
Yeah.
Or do I really need to take into consideration what their actual platform is?
See, if people had okay, if you let me put this.
Valid question.
The correct answer is no. I need to see what their policy is and how that's going to benefit me. But the realness of it is, President Barack Obama, his policy wasn't for Black people. It was for America. It was for our people.
Mm-hmm.
But we totally disregarded that, because he had a jump shot. He had a really walk. He was Black. He kept us in the White House, dude. And we totally, and that's why. And that's why so many people complain. Because if we be honest, people are saying right now that Barack Obama was the best president we have had, or he was the best Black president that we ever had, because he was the only one we ever had.
Right.
But as far as an agenda, man, a lot of people weren't satisfied. A lot of people weren't happy with the agenda and what was going on. That's because a Black guy was running, and we were enamored by, hey, he looks like me.
He looks like
him. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
But is that a safe method for voting? Or maybe we think because they look like me, they should be able to relate to me. Is that what we're thinking? Is that how we feeling? That this person can relate to me because they look like me? But that's not always the case, though.
Yeah, well, it's not the way it's supposed to be. But more times than not, man, the way we do this thing is because somebody, I can identify with the way they look. If I can just identify with the way they look, surely they think like me. Well, really, surely they think like me. And it's like, no, they don't think like you. They don't. No, it's not going to be because you got a Black guy in the White House. It's not going to be cookouts every weekend. and I hate to be stereotypical, but we thought he was going to be stereotypical Black guy, and he wasn't.
And he pretty much had to try to not be as best as possible, because that was what everybody was thinking was going to happen. Everybody felt like he was going to paint the White House Black, right? They felt like, he was going to bring nothing but Black people in, which is exactly what 45 did. He did everything they thought Obama would do. He took it to a whole nother. He golfing all the time. You know what I'm saying? He got more leisure time than I ever seen the president have. Hired all of his family.
Yes, he got all up. They're gonna give money for
all his family and his little buddies in offices. Put them in particular political places, and they get paid for life.
Yes, they do.
So he came in and did everything that people swore Obama was going to do.
Yes, he did. But let me say this. The reason why 45 is in office is because we didn't want politics as usual. We wanted a businessman not only his only agenda was who's ever doing it now, I'm going to talk about them and show you how I can do it better. That was his agenda. I don't have my own. I don't have my own policy. I don't have nothing. I'm going to talk about them and show you how, because he's been doing this since Mayor Giuliani. That's all he's ever done.
Right.
With no cost. Now people expect, especially a lot of people went for this. And now we're here and there's an uproar. But I think sometimes, man, God will allow things to happen that'll get our white skivvies in a bunch to make us say, "Oh, what is going on?"
Right.
Oh, we got to do something, because tell me that's not where we are now.
Yeah, because it's clear that this election is about one person. It's about one man. I don't care who is on the other ticket. This election is about one person, and either people gonna vote for him or they're gonna vote against him. Whichever direction that is, it's gonna be either a vote for or a vote against.
Dude, if a broomstick handle and a dustpan was running against them,
right?
We were talking about, we're welcome to be the number 46 president. Maybe a broom handle,
right?
And it's dust mop, dude. It's never been as crazy to get somebody. There's never been more emphasis on voting since President Obama, correct? But even then, I don't think we got it like we're getting it now, though.
Let me get to Doug. Doug said, we didn't vote for 45. He is in because they didn't want politics as usual, like you just said. Said they were afraid of the direction the nation was in, started by Obama. So did the friction against Obama create this whole scenario for 45 to step in?
Well, if we had to been so tired of the way the regime was going before President Obama got there, President Obama wouldn't have got elected. But we were so tired of the Bush administration that America wanted something new. And but see now, as I'm saying that,
I was like, I don't know if I can.
Let me explain this.
Okay.
I think America is intrigued with the shiny new toy. They're never satisfied with the one that they have to play with. They want the next thing that's coming out. You can't play with this in your hand for looking over here. From Bush to Obama to 45, shiny new toys. All of them shiny new toys. Barack Obama was the shiny new toy.
Yeah. Because his whole platform was changed. That was his whole platform. It was changed because up until that point, it was politics as we knew it, And so he comes in, he runs on the whole premise of change, got people excited, but was it the change that it got him through, or was it his color? Because we showed up. 2008, 2012, we showed up way more than we had before. We outpaced the white voters in 2008 and 2012. But now once he gets in, there was such resistance inside the government for things that he was doing that the whole government couldn't function. Remember, we had shutdowns, the government shutdowns and stuff during that time.
Bro, that was only because we didn't pay no attention to elections before he was a president, before he was elected. The Senate, the House, everybody. We basically elected him and hadn't did nothing previously.
Yeah.
So now we want him to come and save us. And he's saying, wait a minute, saving you started 2 years prior before me.
Yeah.
Saving you started 2 to 4 years prior when you were electing the House of Representatives, when you're doing all that stuff so I can have some people or some backing to help me get some of the things done that I want to do. But because you didn't do that until now, bro, it ain't nothing but a fight. It ain't nothing. And I'm talking about it was a fight for 8 years.
Man, I think about just voting like now versus where where it used to be. I remember in 2008, 2012, I remember being it was exciting. There was an excitement about having somebody in there, having a black guy in there that you could actually cast your vote for. And most people didn't look past that. And you did have people who, hey, I know he's a black guy, but he's a Democrat. So now we're back to the party politics. So, and I'm like, were you automatically a Democrat when you was born? I was.
Yeah, we were.
Nobody discussed it with me, asked me how I felt about it. I was just automatically a Democrat. Why do people assume that black people are Democrats?
Because we don't educate ourselves to find out what the difference is between the two. We just let somebody tell us well, this what your mama and big mama and them was, and it's we've always been. Don't you bring that white Jesus in here? My Jesus got hair like a wood. It's the same. It's the same. It's a religion. Politics is a religion, it's a religion.
So can the church outpace the culture when it comes to undoing this stuff?
Well, they can, but you got to be okay. They can, but the church was just as guilty either for Barack Obama or against him as the people were. They were just as guilty. It was somebody was gonna say, which puts the church in and I think that's good. You said they need to separate church from state, and I think that's good.
Well, that's a law. That's a law, the separation of church and state, which, based on the founding fathers of this nation, it's because over where they were, the church ran everything.
Yeah,
the church was starting wars. I'm talking about the Roman Catholic Church, which is what pretty much ruled the world at that time. They wanted to be broken off from.
Do you think when they had Klan meetings that they were at the church, or you think they waited till later that evening and had them outside at somebody's house? What do you think?
When they had the Klan, what you mean by when they had the Klan meeting? You said the Klan. Are you saying clans are Christians?
Oh man, come on!
Is that what you're trying to say, John?
That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm simply saying. I'm simply asking the question. Oh, never mind. We're going to the next. So I'm simply saying. I think we were guilty Okay, for example, I want to use Barack Obama more as a status or a symbol for my kids to say you can do anything you put your mind to, than I was concerned about his politics.
Mm-hmm.
I needed him in that position so I could say, wow, we can do anything.
Yeah. So you think the historical significance of him being in office overshadowed anything
else, man. And I think that's a double-edged sword, though. I think if you're wrong with that, then that is a double-edged sword. Because yes, I am the black man that's supposed to be here as a representation of you can do anything, but I do not agree with your politics. So which one is more important? You being a symbol for my kids that they can do anything, or your politics? Well, for most black people, you being a symbol of me saying my kids can do anything is way more important than the politics of it, until I'm dragging you out of the car and shooting you every chance I got my knee on your neck. Now, politics, oh my God, now it's important.
Now, because keep in mind, to your point, there is a space, almost not quite a generation, but there's a space of kids for the majority of their life. Their president was black, and they knew nothing else. There were kids that were, when he left office, they were tore up. They was like, oh, look, where my president going? It's still people talking about where my president at. But to your point, it was significantly important for them to see that reflection of themselves in such a high office.
And I get it. I do. But Derek, I'm asking you, what's more important? What's more important? Seeing a black president in office or police reform? Educating the police, judges where they need to, getting black people that represent us as far as judges. Somebody tell me what's more important. We celebrate the Super Bowl victory, but we don't want to follow our team throughout the season for every win. You have to win some battles before you can win the war. We just want to separate the war. We lost all the battles.
Because the war gets all the attention. It gets all the attention. Now, so everybody knows, yes, there's a lot of focus on a national election, especially voting for president. But there is so much more that happens on your local government level that we need to be aware of that we don't pay any attention to. The judges that are appointed, the sheriffs, all these types of things that people have to run for, the DA and all. Are you really, really taking the time to see who these people are? Are you turning out to vote to make sure that the person that's in there has considered your interest and they have your best interest at heart?
You want to take a look at Doug? Doug got some stuff. Doug saying some stuff. We want to make sure we get him in.
Doug says the church needs a consistent platform. The issue is the million denominations and million different churches on the corner all have their own platform, and they, in some instances, conflict with the principles of Christ. Yes, because we say we love Jesus, but at the end of the day, we follow what the culture is going to do. Because how many people, when they sit and look at somebody's platform, actually consider what the Bible says? How many people go to that degree? They look at every person, look at their platform, what they're running on, and see where they measure up. Who's going to do what God says? Who's doing that?
I don't think. I think we do on the surface. I believe we do on the surface, but for the most part, it was amazing. People were so upset with President Obama because we thought he was a good Christian man. Why is he making laws and rights for gays and homosexuals and that kind of thing? It's like, dude, he is the president of the people.
Right.
He's not the president of black people. He is the president of the people. You should have addressed some of those, or pay attention to some of those policies before he's in office and he's passing those particular laws.
Right. And despite what people may think, well, I guess I can't say that looking at how things. I was going to say you can't expect the president to just take the group of people you don't like and burn them at the stake, but we almost there now. But
they ain't brothers. They just shooting us up every time they get a chance.
Oh, man. And see, that happens on a local level. See, people look at the United States, but the state is still an individual state.
Yes, there you go.
The federal government steps in when things get out of hand in a certain state, but still the state runs itself.
A great example of that is the mayor of Is it Minnesota? Is it Portland? One of the mayors is talking. Is going back and forth with the president.
Portland.
Is the mayor of Portland? Dude, that's the perfect example of what we're talking about.
Right.
The president is here for the nation.
Yeah.
The mayor of Portland is here where the people are.
Right.
We need more influence in these areas than we do in these areas. Because if we don't control this much don't matter.
Right. Because the voters' rights things happen on a local level. That's where that happened. So when they were having, you had to pass a literacy test. Well, they knew you couldn't read because they were controlling your educational level the whole time. So they knew you couldn't read. So I can put this rule, this ordinance in place, and without me saying I don't want y'all voting, I just put a rule in place that prevents you from voting without me saying I don't want you voting. And although we know that's the intention, but things like that happen on a local level, and we miss it, and we need to be aware of the things that are happening right in our own city that can hurt us really.
I bet not catch you reading. You reading that read?
No sir. No sir. No sir. Me reading? No sir.
I can't even sing it.
I catch you with some braille, you're gonna lose them fingers.
But you make a very good point there. So check this out. So how can you say that there's not a party that I'm privy to where I'm going to vote? Because the election is much bigger than the presidency. You still got your local level politics that we're talking about that you need to vote on. You just can't say, I'm just going to leave it up to everybody else, because there are some lower level things that we need you guys to be voting on. Yeah. You can't. It's a cop out. It's a cop out at the highest level to say I'm not voting for Democrat or Republican. Well, if you don't, because of this, your vote counts for every one time you vote. I want to say it means twice. It's two. So if you're not voting, it's a double effect if you don't vote. Okay. That's how bad we need you to vote. Yeah. That's how bad we need you voting at this level down here. The presidency, man, listen, it's really important, especially with Kamala Harris. She looks like she is going to be some to deal with far as vice presidency. But again, that part is not going to get to us anytime soon. But down here, we want to create a platform to where the judges that are over us in these local court cases, man, we have influence. So let me tell you something. Barack Obama has nothing to do with what these judges are doing down in Lew Sterrett. I'm gonna tell you that right now. You can't call them, you can't look for them, you can't nothing. Talking about these sentences that they're giving out ain't fair. Well, you voted them in. Oh, wait a minute. You didn't see the reason to vote at that level, so somebody else voted them in. And let me tell you something about these judges. They're gonna be there till they die.
Right. They appointed for life. For life. Now, I keep telling people, whenever you put somebody in a robe or even a uniform, whatever preconceived notion, whatever prejudices they have, you give license to that. You have now empowered either ignorance or racism, or you've empowered it, because they know that even if somebody comes and undoes what they did, it's going to take them so many years that most people won't even put in the effort.
Right.
They won't even put in the effort. So we have to pay attention to politics on the local level to a great deal. And we need to really, really look at these platforms. Y'all stay with me for a minute. I got to run down an analogy, but I want you to get this. All right. For all my people who don't know nothing about football, I might lose you, but just stay with me. I remember when I was playing Pee Wee football. Now we kids playing Pee Wee football. And my coaches, they weren't really popular guys. They were working class white guys, down to earth. I mean, just down home, good guys. But the refs and everybody didn't like them. So we playing a game. The refs are cheating us. We kids. This is a Pee Wee League game. The refs are cheating us. Now, when you play a game, you already got one opponent. It's one thing you got to play against another team, but when you got to play against the ref too, you pretty much almost fighting a losing battle because the refs are calling things and you can't really refute it. When we look at politics, you got Democrats, you got Republicans, you got so many conflicting parties in this nation. When you elect people, you are electing the refs. When you elect your judges, when you elect your DAs, you are electing the people who's supposed to call the game fair. They supposed to look at your life and the things that you up against and call the game fair. But if you are not paying attention, then the people who have an interest in winning, they can put their people in those places and you will never get a fair call.
For example, in the Geiger
Amber Geiger
story.
Botham John, yeah.
Okay. I think we just passed 2 years. We just passed 2 years, right? So go get it. Now, you sitting on the jury for that case, and you come back with a guilty verdict, and the sentencing is up to the judge.
Right.
The sentencing is up to the judge. The judge says, okay, all right. Yeah, y'all right. But I don't feel like she need to do 20 years. Mm-hmm. Regardless of how bad or how heinous you think the crime is, I feel like she need to do, I'm going to say 10 years, but she only going to do 5. So, because I'm going to give her time served for 1 5, and so she don't have to do 5. Right. Now, you outrage. Well, the jury, whoa, because it's not up to the jury. It's up to the judges. Right. I was at a light, and I saw they were electing sheriffs. They were electing all of a sudden. I said, wait a minute. You mean to tell me that you can have towns with crooked sheriffs and stuff in it, and they voted in?
Yeah.
So we can do something about that. Listen, voting has always been bigger than the 4-year thing.
Yes.
Voting is always, listen, man. And with our small communities, with DFW, man, we need, as black people, as many black people as it is that I seen over there at Big T at the flea market. What's the flea market out there in Grand Prairie?
Trader's Village.
With many black folks out there in Trader's Village and the flea market, and out here at the in Allen. So basically, what I'm saying, it's enough of us to where we care more about something. See, man, most of the time we're so ignorant. We just want something. We just want to start something. We don't really care about. We just want to be relevant in the time. It ain't time out. It's time out for that, man. It's time out for that.
Yeah.
When you do get a president that you want, we have slept on things so bad. He can't do nothing when he get in office anyway.
Right. You're absolutely right.
Dude, all Barack Obama, remember this, D. Every time some injustice was done on Barack Obama's watch at a smaller scale, all he could do was talk about it.
That's it.
He can come down and say, no, we're going to do that over. No, I don't like that. All he could do was talk about it.
Right.
If you don't do your jobs and vote for these lower level people, all the presidents will be able to do is talk about it.
You got a point. You're absolutely right. But we got to really, really consider what's at stake. This is your voice that you express with voting is the only equalizer you have in this nation. The guy who has $20 million and the guy who has $20. When they vote, it's one vote, one person.
Yes.
One vote, one person. Mm-hmm. So we can say the rich people ruling, well, they do it based on our ignorance more than anything. It's not their money that's really doing it a lot of times, but it's our ignorance. Because no matter how much campaign money they put behind their candidate and all this type of stuff, it's still up to us to vote.
You know, we often say things leave clues.
Mm-hmm.
Success leaves clues as well as failure.
Right.
Oftentimes, when things aren't going the way we want them to go, there are clues to why things are going that way.
Mm-hmm.
When we have had successes, like the presidency of the United States, when we elected Barack Obama, there are some clues that we can use to say, wow, in these 8 years, this is what we did to be successful to have the man we wanted in office.
Right.
After that, we also have clues of our failures, of the things we're not as happy about. Why are we not paying attention to the clues? When the president says we're going to stop this type of voting or that type of voting, he's trying to tell you how important it is to vote. Yeah. And and let me say this. This is not for you guys. This is for me, because I've always never really understood the importance of it until lately. I'm like, wow, this is really, really important. Because if you think about Barack Obama, man, he was fighting the whole time he was in office because we hadn't did anything for him prior to him getting there.
Right. It's a lot we only here for an hour. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to touch on in an hour. But in our own homes, we need to start taking the political process way more serious than we do. And I'm like John, I'm talking to myself too. We need to start taking the political process way more serious than we do, because your life is being shaped. You don't like the decisions that are being made about your life. You don't like the decisions that are being made about your finances, about the schools, about police reform, about all of that happens. The people that are calling those shots, majority of those people are elected officials. So if you want to change your voice that's speaking, vote. We got to get out and vote. And before we vote, find out who the people are and what's their platform. Now, I can tell you personally, I hate party politics. I hate it because everybody's been forced into this mindset that there's only two parties. We only see Democrat, Republican. That's all we see. And if I had my way, no sitting official could have a party affiliation. I don't think they should have a party affiliation. Right. Like I said, they calling the game.
Yes.
They calling the game. And if you're gonna call the game fair, you can't be a part of the other team. You can't be a part of the other team. Those people need to be straight down the line. Their interest should be America, period. Period. Not based on party politics, the whole nine, but just based on what's right for this country as a whole, considering everybody who's living here, whether you know what I'm saying, whatever your background, ethnicity, I don't care, LGBTQ, whatever, everybody has a right to life. Everybody has a right to life. And nobody should be denied the right to live, to take care of their families, to walk down the street without persecution or somebody doing them wrong. Who cares if you agree with them or disagree with them? Sit down and talk about it. But nobody should feel like their particular view on life should be persecuted to the point where they're afraid for their life.
But yes, you're absolutely right, and I agree with you. But if you don't vote, you're leaving that in somebody else's hands.
Yeah.
I can't really say it no more. I get it. You don't know what president to vote for. I get it. Well, this is just as bad as him, and he did. I get it. But what about down here? There's some things that definitely need to be voted upon down here.
Right.
So rather than trying on social media, rather than trying to discourage one another from voting, let's start talking about why we should vote and what we should be voting for.
Right.
Because this is enough. Then listen, we don't need no help being stupid.
We so don't.
That come easy. That is so easy.
We
don't need no help with that. And it just seems like now when it's almost frustrating because you go on social media and people, well, I ain't vote for this. I get it, but man, you hear we need to if we can control this, they can't. All they can do is talk about it.
Yeah.
I hate to beat a dead horse, but I can't complain about rights and stuff. It's stuff that should be given to me if I'm not having any hand in helping to get any better. That's the least I can do is vote. That's the least I can do is take an hour out of your day every 2 years to go vote. That's the least you can do. You can't listen, man. I say I'm different from you. You say everybody should have this. Everybody should be. No. If you don't vote, then let's flip a coin and see whether or not you get that. Because that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. Because if the president had his way, how would it be if he had his way? So we got to take that power out of his hand and put it in yours.
Speaking of taking the power out of his hands, I think people forget that the power in a democracy lies with the people. We've given the government all the power, but the government, they're appointed people. We put those people in office. So we still collectively, as the United States citizens, we still collectively hold the power. We can recall people. We can complain. We don't even recall people that's not acting right. We don't even complain to the people that we do elect. We don't even complain to them about them not upholding what they said they were going to do. All the things, the promises they made, we don't even call. But I tell you, well, I'll put it this way. Black people don't call. I tell you who do call. I tell you who do call.
No, you got to tell
you let a congressman, a senator, U.S. or local, whatever, they gonna hear.
Hey, Karen gonna call.
Karen calling.
Karen
is all over that, brother. He is all over that.
Mm-hmm.
What good does it do for us to spend all of those years, people dying, not just dying, people getting killed and murdered, to give us a voice and we stay silent? People fight for your voice to be heard. And when the mic is up to you, you don't have nothing to say.
And them same folk that don't have nothing to say when the mic is at their mouth, go back home and blow social media up. I'm tired now.
Like I said, don't use your voice to express your dissatisfaction if you didn't use your voice to vote. Right? You got to earn the right to complain.
And there you go. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
You have to earn the right to complain. So when the election rolls around and everything is said and done, if it didn't go your way and you didn't get out and actually vote, that's the time to shut up. Up until that point, use your voice. But after that, if you didn't use it then, we don't want to hear from you.
Use your superpowers for good, not for evil.
Right. This is a freedom that other people in other countries wish they had. And we haven't, like John said, we take it for granted. Let's not take for granted the voice that we've been given through the power of voting. And let's use our voices to make our voices heard. We've been protesting, we've been marching, we've been everything, but it means nothing if we don't hit the polls. You can march till you get blisters on your feet, till your feet fall off. But if you don't use your voice to vote, it's all for nothing.
We need to hit those polls like the strippers hitting their polls.
Hey, post-corona. Right. Because listen, no time like the present, people, let's make it happen. You know, we want this nation to change.
Hmm.
We got to speak up.
Hmm.
Got to speak up. Well, that's our time. Hours goes fast, man.
Why? Just flies by, man.
We appreciate everybody for joining us. Thank you. Catch us here every Monday, 7 o'clock. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll see y'all next week.
Y'all be blessed.